Awarded to Representative Larry Pittman from GRNC, I bring you Representative Larry Pittman, the most pro-gun second, or one of the most pro-gun Second Amendment members in the General Assembly.
And Tammy will find just a place to put that in my office. Thank you so much. They told me I have 15 minutes to speak, and they haven't explained to me yet whether that's 15 regular people minutes or 15 Presbyterian minister minutes. So I guess they'll get the hook and pull me when the time comes. I just want to say how grateful I am to have a group like you to address tonight. We look around us and we see so many who are trying to deny the truth of our history and trying to make us into some kind of slave state, I guess, because, you know, it's the slaves who are unarmed. And we don't want to be that. And I'm so grateful tonight for the example that I have from my father. And I'm going to have to warn myself right now just to hush pretty soon, because I could talk all night about my dad. He was World War II, Navy, Chief Petty Officer, directing fire of 16-inch guns on battleships in the Pacific, and eventually became head of the Management Assistance Office at Cherry Point Marine Corps Air Station. He taught the young adult Sunday school class in our church for 20 years and was an elder who would preach when we didn't have a pastor, and made sure that we kids understood what was going on in church and what the preacher was talking about. And he was a man of strong conviction and principles, who said what he meant what he said. And I'm trying, 40-some years after his death, to live up to the example that he set for me. He started taking me and allowing me to shoot, teaching me to shoot and be safe with a gun when I was 6 years old. And when I was 8, he started taking me out in the woods. He'd sit me by a tree and say, "Now be there, be still, be quiet, be there when I get back." He'd go off and hunt, and he'd come back, making sure that I could be trusted to do what he told me in the woods. When I was 10, he started letting me carry his .22 and go squirrel hunting with him. And when I was 12, he bought me my first shotgun. And it was too much for me. It was one of them big old Marlin goose guns. Knocked me down just about the first time I shot it. So he traded that in and got me a nice little 20 gauge, you know. And we started going rabbit hunting with his buddies. And I was hooked on it before I ever started. And I believe in being able to hunt. And I'm looking forward to deer season coming up. I also believe in being able to defend my family and my home against burglars or, you know, somebody coming in trying to do them harm. I believe in being able to do target shooting. All those things are good and wonderful, and I believe we have a right to be able to exercise that freedom. But you know, none of that is directly what the Second Amendment is about. And part of the reason I get in trouble sometimes, and George will attest to this, is that sometimes I say things that other people may have in the back of their minds, but they don't have the nerve to say it. And I'm going to tell you right straight out, and I know I'm probably telling you something you already understand. What the Second Amendment is about is our right to be able to defend ourselves if we have to against an oppressive government. I'm grateful that the Founding Fathers were men of patience, men who were long-suffering. They tried, they did everything they could to settle their differences with the British government and the king peacefully. You read the Declaration of Independence, that's what it tells you. They tried every peaceful means that they could, and they didn't fight until they were forced into it. But when you had to either fight or lose your freedom, they fought. And then when they were putting together the Constitution, maybe you realize, maybe you don't, it was because of North Carolina and North Carolinians' distrust of government that the Bill of Rights was put into the Constitution with the Halifax Accords, Halifax Resolves, rather. It was North Carolina that demanded a Bill of Rights before they would ratify the Constitution. Without that, we wouldn't have the Bill of Rights. And the Second Amendment that is among those Bill of Rights, those first 10 amendments, is the key to preserving all the other rights that are spoken of in the Constitution. But those people back then understood what we must not forget, that our rights do not come from the government. The Second Amendment does not give you the right to keep and bear arms. God gives you the right to self-defense. God gives you the right to freedom. And the Second Amendment only acknowledges that you have the right to be armed in order to do that. And actually, I think if you look at Article 1, Section 30 of the state constitution, it states it even better a little bit than the Second Amendment, because in our state constitution, we put the comma in the right place. But one thing that I tried to do this year with my gun rights amendment, which was not allowed a hearing in committee, was to take out the latter portion of Article 1, Section 30, which is against concealed carry. I mean, we have a concealed carry permit system. Why do we need that to be in our Constitution any longer? So I tried to have that taken out and to add wording that would expand our understanding of concealed carry, and also a provision that would state that the government of North Carolina would never participate in or originate, it's not the exact wording, but the idea is there would be no program of confiscation of weapons from our citizens. But I was told that was too radical. The Senate would never approve it, and so it couldn't be given a hearing unless I got everybody to agree that, yeah, we'll go for that. I also had another bill that I offered, which is called the Enabling Patriots Act. And the funny thing to me is that in House Bill 937, some of the things that I wanted to put into law in the Enabling Patriots Act, and I was told that's going too far, the Senate will never go for it, the Senate put into House Bill 937 when they got it. And let me tell you something, you got to remember this. You're never done. The other side's never going to be done until they take away your freedom. So you can never be done preserving it. When our founding fathers had won the revolution, it would have been easy to say, well, we beat the British, we're done, we can relax, because we're not going to have to fight them anymore. But the War of 1812 wasn't that much later. And yeah, they did have to fight them again. And we may win one here and there, but the other side is trying to take two away from us for every one we win. And so, as has been said before, the cost of freedom is eternal vigilance. We must always be ready, because the other side will always be ready to take away from us that freedom that we cherish. And so, yes, the Senate did a good job adding to House Bill 937 some provisions that need to be in there. I have always said that there is no reason that we should have to have a permit to buy a handgun. The criminals are not going to bother with that. So all you're doing is hindering the rights of the law-abiding citizens by requiring a permit. All you're doing is slowing them down. Maybe some woman who's been beaten by her husband has got a court order for him to stay away, may feel that she needs a gun to defend herself. And while she's waiting for that purchase permit, it might be too late before she gets it. We don't need to be hindered. To me, that is an infringement on our rights, and I'm glad that the Senate chose to put in a provision to do away with that system. I believe in that, and I think we need to do that. But be aware that it's not over with. I believe that before this session is over, we're going to see an attempt to have the House vote not to concur with what the Senate has done with House Bill 937, so that it can be sent to conference committee and have those improvements taken out of the bill so that the governor won't have to sign that into law. I think that's what's going to happen. So I tell you, we had a little victory in the Senate. Let's preserve it. You need to be letting the House members know that you don't want that provision taken out, that you want 937 as it has been improved by the Senate, passed as it stands. And so we need to have pressure from you on the House to concur with what the Senate has done. Now, I just want you to know that what you say and what you do does make a difference. But thank God, Paul understands you don't have to come after me because I'm one of y'all to start with. Because I've seen what happens when y'all get after something. When they're not doing what's right, you let them know about it. Well, you don't have to worry about me. I fully believe in your right to keep and bear arms, and I don't know how long I'm going to be in Raleigh. I've imposed a term limit of 5 terms on myself, that I'm not going to serve more than 5. But who knows whether I'll get to serve those 5. I may not be there in 2015. I hope I will be. But one thing I will tell you, however long I'm there, I will not agree ever to back up 1 inch and give up your right to keep and bear arms. And I hope that we can settle our differences in this country peacefully. I hope that we can win the argument about the right to keep and bear arms peacefully. I don't ever want to have to stand and face an American soldier with a weapon drawn. I don't want to do that. And thank God, I believe a lot of our military would never come against us. But there's always some who will do what the king says to do. And so it may come to that. I hope and I pray that it won't. I contacted NRA back when Bill Clinton was president because I was afraid he was going to come and confiscate our weapons. And I said, you know, this is what the Second Amendment is about. And if it comes to that, if the government does begin to start trying to confiscate our weapons, there needs to be a plan. Nobody wants to be the first to fight. But somebody's going to have to be. And they said, we're looking at that. So I hope they are, you know. But I've done a lot of thinking about it myself. And I'll say this to you, and I'm sticking my neck out again. When is it time to fight? When will we finally have to reluctantly shed blood? The next Waco, the next Ruby Ridge, it's time to fight. God bless you and keep standing up for freedom. Thank you.